The Halloween franchise will live again. Michael Myers will rise from the dead because Miramax, the company that owns the rights to Halloween, is apparently already shopping the rights to the Halloween franchise to a new studio. They had a 3-picture deal with Blumhouse Pictures, which produced Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. That deal is now officially done. And Miramax, the company that owns the rights to Halloween, is out there pitching it and taking offers with numerous studios apparently interested, including reports that A24 actually might want to get involved in a potential Halloween TV series. So I'm Damon, he's Patrick, we are Rewinded Living Dead, and we wanted to talk today a little bit about the future of the Halloween franchise because we reviewed all 3 of the recent Halloween films. Some were better than others. And much like every other great horror franchise, Patrick, we knew this was never going to die. This was never going to die. This was going to keep going. And, you know, we're going to get more Halloween films, it seems, sooner rather than later. So I guess the question what we want to talk about today is, what do we want out of future Halloween films? We know it's going to happen. There's no reason to try to fight it. What do we want out of the Halloween franchise moving forward?
I can tell you what I don't want right off the top is I don't want a Halloween TV show. I'm not. It's been widely reported on our podcast. I'm not the biggest Halloween guy, but there are some Halloween movies I genuinely love. Halloween 2018, both of Rob Zombie's Halloween movies I actually really like. And I like Season of the Witch. I don't need a Halloween TV show. This is a big enough saga as it is. So that for sure, right off the top, like I actually do want A24 involved because I think for them, quality is job one. So you're going to get something good, and I dare I say I think they'll probably put together a better story than even the one we got for the David Gordon Green saga. I think they can put together a better story. The question is, how will they do it? And I think the only way to do it, Damon, is to once again reboot the series like we did with Rob Zombie's Halloween. I don't think they'll pick someone as polarizing as Rob Zombie was, and I do think they will try to stick to the general idea of Halloween, but I think you just got to reboot. I don't think there's any other way around it. We're not talking Laurie Strode anymore. Do we dare or can we even continue on the ideas that were presented in the Blumhouse Halloweens? I don't think you can. So I'm feeling painted in a corner here, but I think Miramax kind of has no choice but to say, we're starting fresh. And are we going to have a new Laurie Strode? Are we going to have a new character? Are we going to put somebody new in there? Are we going to do this? If A24 gets involved, are we going to do this Euphoria style with Gen Z kids? That sounds interesting to me. What do you think?
So I'm going to disagree with you on one thing, because the rumor swirling about A24 getting involved and potentially in a TV show, the rumor is, and let me be clear, this is a rumor. They want to do a TV show based around Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Okay.
Now that I'm intrigued by, because
that's interesting.
If you look behind me, I have the Halloween 3 masks behind me. I am a huge Halloween 3 fan. I actually have Michael Myers back there too, if you kind of tilt my head.
Hey, there he is.
I love Halloween 3. One of my favorite moments at a horror convention was the day I got to meet Tom Atkins, because I love Halloween 3 and I love Tom Atkins in that role. If they do a TV show, now I don't know how they're going to do a TV show necessarily. Obviously, Silver Shamrock, the whole story with the kids and the masks and all that kind of stuff. Could you develop that into an actual season? I'm not saying you need to do 3 seasons. I'm saying a 10 episode season. I think it can be done. I think there's enough story there that you could do a 10 episode season run of Halloween 3. So that I will sign up for. And that, I think, Season of the Witch in particular is a great story for A24 to develop, because that kind of falls into their wheelhouse where they would get a really creative director, kind of like what they did with Hereditary, kind of like what they've done with other things where, Talk to Me, which I know they didn't develop Talk to Me, they bought Talk to Me, but they saw what Talk to Me was and they knew they wanted it. That kind of creative storytelling around a Halloween 3 story, Season of the Witch, with a maniacal evil toy company and somebody investigating it, I'm in. That works. Doesn't need to be 30 episodes, 10 episodes, we're out the door. I think I can handle that. As far as the films go, my first instinct, Patrick, was to say, can we get Rob Zombie back in some way, shape, or form? Now, I know he made really polarizing Halloween films, and even I'm not a massive fan of Halloween 2, but the first Halloween, 2007's Halloween, to me is still the most brutal, scariest of all the Halloween films.
Easily.
I'm not a massive Halloween fan, but I am a big Halloween fan. You're particularly not. I loved the Rob Zombie Halloween.
I love it.
I love John Carpenter. John Carpenter is one of my favorite horror directors of all time, but I loved Rob Zombie's Halloween. So my first instinct was, can we get him back in some way, shape, or form? I don't know how, because Halloween 2 ended pretty definitively, and obviously I think it'd be pretty hard to bring anybody back for Halloween 3. But somehow getting him involved was my first instinct. The other instinct I had was this. Jamie Lee Curtis is the face of the Halloween franchise from the non-Michael Myers side. Everyone knows Laurie Strode. Now, when she filmed Halloween Ends, she said, that's it, I'm done, I'm not coming back. This was my final turn as Laurie Strode. Okay, let's leave that be. She's got her Oscar, she's got her closure. We got to be done with it at some point. What disappointed me, however, was after Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 introduced the idea of Michael Myers' niece, Jamie, played by the great Danielle Harris. She was supposed to be Laurie Strode's daughter. They couldn't, or they didn't get Danielle Harris back for Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which actually introduced a very young Paul Rudd. And she wasn't in that movie. Now, the movie was terrible. Halloween 6 is god-awful. It is a really bad film. So Danielle Harris probably dodged a bullet not being in that movie. But Danielle Harris is still very much involved in the horror community. She goes to horror conventions all the time. She hosts her own podcast, Talk Scary to Me, with Scout Taylor Compton, of course, who played Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloweens. And Danielle Harris was also in those films. Danielle Harris still feels like the other biggest piece of the puzzle of the Halloween non-Michael Myers people beyond Laurie Strode. When David Gordon Green did his 2018 version, he just retconned it and it forgot everything but Halloween 1. Halloween 2 didn't exist. They weren't brother and sister. All that was gone. If you're going to continue a story and you want to go back into the archives, why not actually bring Danielle Harris back and allow her to play an adult Jamie, and the story of Michael Myers picks up 20 years after her as a child, when she was Michael Myers' niece. And she actually took on a murderous role. She kind of basically absorbed, basically became Michael Myers again as a kid, if you remember Halloween 5. If you're going to do it that way. Bring her back. And that way you have a conduit back to Michael Myers. And there's a really rabid fan base of people who love Halloween 4 and 5, myself included, actually. I really like Halloween 4 and 5. Bring her back as the conduit. Bring an adult Jamie back, an adult Danielle Harris back into the fold. And we just focus on 4 or 5 in this new film. We're basically erasing 6 from history, and we're going to go back into 4 and 5 and bring back Danielle Harris. That would be my only other suggestion. While I agree, rebooting it altogether sounds good and sounds interesting, I think there's still a little bit more meat on the bone with if you bring back if you bring back an adult Danielle Harris as Jamie, and you actually allow her to finish the story that started in part 4 and 5. And maybe it takes a couple films. I'm not saying you couldn't do 2 new movies or even 3. But Danielle Harris is so underrated. Bring her back and allow her to actually finish the role she started. And they screwed up by not bringing her back for part 6. Again, I think she dodged a bullet. That movie was terrible. But bring her back. Jamie, bring her back. That would be my other conduit. I would watch that movie, and I think that would be interesting because, yeah, you're kind of retconning some things. You're kind of forgetting some history, but you're also not, because they erased her from memory for 2018's Halloween, so why not go back to that well? That's the only other conduit I could see that would work.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Danielle Harris on screen for a 3-movie arc. That sounds good to me. Or, hey, let's combine both of our ideas. Let's do our A24 Euphoria TV show that's based on Season of the Witch and include Danielle Harris as a completely different character, just to homage what we've done before. Maybe that's the safest way into all of this, because you're talking about retconning the retcon, and I'm talking about like raising the land and salting the earth. This is our happy medium. So you get a A24 TV show, Euphoria style, about the season of the witch with Danielle Harris in the lead role. I got to tell you right now, we just cooked up something that I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I just think that we got to put Laurie Strode behind us as Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, you could make another film, but you could make it just like we when we did our review of 2007's Halloween, we both praised Scout Taylor Compton. She was put in an impossibly tough situation, being the new Laurie Strode, and she was kind of an unknown actress at that point, stepping into an iconic role played by Jamie Lee Curtis. I thought she did a fantastic job. I thought she's a really, really good actor, and she's continued to be a good actor in everything she's been in. So I never felt like she got a fair shake, and I never felt like that film really got a fair shake because it was a remake, even though it was actually a really good one. But yeah, like I wouldn't mind seeing that, Danielle Harris coming back into it, because she still loves the Halloween franchise. She's still recognized for the Halloween franchise, and she embraces it. I wouldn't mind seeing her get a chance to come back and actually finish that story, because she never got to. So while I agree, I think the A24 Halloween 3 idea is great in the TV show. I'm all for that. I don't mind if they bring back Jamie and do an adult version of that with Danielle Harris to kind of conclude the story that way, because we got to move on from Jamie Lee Curtis. We got to move on from Laurie Strode. But if you still want a franchise that actually has a recognizable character, I think that's the one way you have left to go in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, folks, we'll find out soon enough. Somebody's going to buy the rights. Maybe it's Paramount. Maybe it's Universal. We'll kind of find out, because there's going to be a bidding war, because this is a franchise that makes money, and I don't think we're going to have to wait very long to see Michael Myers alive again.
Peace.